Ok, good. Donc vous allez pouvoir poser des questions à Juliette juste le temps qu'un micro arrive, un micro pour la salle et un micro pour Juliette. Sorry about that. You're so fast.
Ok.
On t'entend. So, Juliet, let me ask you one question right now.
Okay.
So, what's the next challenge for Jumia now?
Okay. So the next challenge is taking more people in Africa from offline to online. Okay. And the many things in there. It's payments.
Yeah.
Okay. It's expanding our network of services, network of vendors, products, more assortment. But that's the main challenge. Yeah. Okay.
Ok. Est-ce que quelqu'un a une question à poser à Juliette maintenant, qui est restée assidue? Ah, monsieur, tu as un micro? Peut-être vous pouvez la poser en anglais si vous le pouvez. Merci.
House. So my question was, is it possible to deliver some product to Jumia warehouse and to deliver it in all the countries shown previously?
Okay. For now, it depends on the. I mean, you would have to deliver to the different countries. Okay. So we don't have a central warehouse and hub where we then redistribute to the different countries. So it has to go to the different countries. So typically what happens is, for example, for Black Friday in November, so I'm in discussions with different brands on what products, prices, and once we agree on the volume that the different countries require, then we just ship to those countries. And it's much easier than having one central location where you have to ship there first and then you ship to the other countries because that increases costs. Okay.
Une autre question peut-être? Ah, monsieur, madame. Tu choisis.
Hello. I would like to know if it's possible to a French e-commerce brand to sell in Jumia or not?
Sure. We are very open to expanding partnerships with e-commerce brands, especially niche brands that are in small segments where we don't have a lot of assortment in those areas. Very much open to that. I'm looking forward to that. I actually have one meeting today with some brands and some potential partners. Okay.
And what is the condition?
It depends on the category. So the commissions per category differ. It could be as low as 1% for some very high volume brands, some very high volume categories, and then for fashion is much higher than that. Okay. So I have to know the specific category.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you. Monsieur, peut-être, oui.
Oui, hello, Jérôme Libeskind. I'm a consultant in urban freight and last mile delivery. I would like to know how you're organized to deliver your customers.
Okay.
Do you have your own fleet of vehicles? How are you organized? Thanks.
Okay, so we have a hybrid, so a combination of our own fleet and also third-party logistics providers. So we do work with DHL in Nigeria, we work with UPS, and in fact DHL is one of our big logistics providers. But like I mentioned, on last mile delivery, DHL will do only the areas where the orders have been prepaid. Okay? So where the orders have not been prepaid, then we have our own last mile delivery, we have our own trucks, our own vans, and our own tricycles. Okay, the tricycles that deliver to the final customer. And also we have a network of other smaller third-party logistics companies that also do last mile delivery for us. Okay. So that's how we configure it.
Quelqu'un d'autre? Une autre question peut-être? Ah, monsieur.
Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Valentin Vacheresse, working in the automotive industry.
Okay.
I'm wondering, what's your view on the category management that you are doing? Is there any plan to expand further the categories, product categories that you are selling today online?
Okay, so we want, I mean, I didn't talk about the categories that we have. I mean, when we started, the standard way was mobile phones, electronics, and so on. Today, to have Procter & Gamble is because we're doing diapers. We want to be the #1 seller of diapers in Africa. Okay, and that's the strategy that we're working on with Procter & Gamble. Online, of course. I mean, I'm referring to online, not offline here. So we've expanded from 2012. By the way, we're literally just 5 years old. We've expanded from 2012 from electronics and TVs and phones to today. We have a lot of fashion. We have sports and equipment. We have home and living, appliances, little home items and home goods to anything. I even find what do we call it? Solar panels. We have solar panels on Jumia. Okay. We pride ourselves every week. We try to find something that's very unusual that a customer would never think would be available on Jumia. And automotive, yes, we have energy products. We have power tools. We have all sorts of. We want to be a marketplace with 10 to 20 million SKUs. Different size of assortment, yeah. So we're open to everything. As long as the customer is ordering it, as long as I see that the conversion rate is good, I'll buy it and it's legal, okay?
Thank you. Une autre question, monsieur?
Yes.
Oui,
Yes.
Là-bas, oui, monsieur.
Okay. Sorry, ma'am. During your presentation, you talked about logistic challenges in Africa. And one of them, I think, is having physical addresses for your clients. So I wanted to know how you do about it. Do you have some sort of pick-up, drop-off areas where people can come and drop or pick up the goods?
Yeah, so it is interesting in Africa when someone places an order in Jumia and you say, okay, so then you get, okay, let me go back a bit. When people place an order, typically there's little human interaction in a standard e-commerce transaction. So I place my order, I put my address, I pay, and then the order is delivered. I have not spoken to any human being, except maybe when the item arrives and I have a problem with it, then I have to call customer service and so on. In Africa, when a customer places the order, we have to call to confirm because half the time the address may be wrong and someone just says, next to this shop. Okay, next to this shop is not an address, right? So we have to have a combination of both the intuitive memory of the delivery guy plus Google Maps. So Google has been able to actually map very well different locations in Africa. So where in places where the address system is not that perfect, we do have pickup stations. So we have pickup stations for customers and they can, it's always in a place where it's fairly well recognized. Maybe it's a post office, maybe it's a shop or stuff like that. So we do have that provision for customers to go to the pickup station and pick up the item. Okay. Okay.
Monsieur a une question ici.
Yes.
Le micro arrive en courant.
Hi, hello. My name is Michael Hanno. I work for quilt and blanket industry.
Yes, I love quilts and blankets. Why are you not on Jumia?
I don't know. Let's talk about it later.
Okay.
I just have a question about the delivery point.
Yes.
What about the big volume product in this delivery point?
I mean mattresses and things like that.
For example.
Yeah, okay. So for those ones, what we are trying to do is encourage self-delivery by the merchant. Okay. So for mattresses, for example, for big items, furniture. Yeah, we do have furniture. People buy, big living room chairs and so on, and things like that. For those ones, we encourage self-fulfillment by the vendor or the merchant or the manufacturer.
So I imagine there is a limit in the size that.
Yes, of course. So we prefer. I mean, you can imagine standard e-commerce. We prefer that we can move a system, we move mostly small, medium items and some fairly large items. But when it comes to really large items of the size of a mattress, of bigger items like that, we use more of the self-fulfillment because, of course, if I have to have one van, I can fit 20,000 phones in one truck, but only one mattress. So from an economics perspective, it's much better for me if it's self-fulfilled, okay. Or self-delivered by the vendor. Okay.
Thank you, Juliette. Madame voudrait poser une question.
Hello, I am Sophie from Global Retail News.
Okay.
Cdiscount has left Africa recently, and I was wondering what are your 3 priorities to improve profitability for the business in Nigeria?
Okay. Yeah, so, I was listening to Jack Ma on Saturday. It was on Bloomberg News, and one of the things he said, yes, free is not a strategy. Okay, when Alibaba started, it was free. It was a free platform for both vendors and everyone. You didn't have to register to be a vendor on Alibaba. But he said, patience is what sustains you. Okay, and patience is very important in Africa. When you're investing in Africa, you need to understand you're investing in an ecosystem. It's not easy to come into Africa and just plug and play e-commerce. You have to remember there's a payment system which has to be developed. There's a logistics system which has to be developed. And there are other small ancillary services that surround that e-commerce. So that's why patience is important. So yes, we are, I think, and also our investors are focused on profitability, but the most important thing now for us is growth. We believe that as we grow, as we expand our assortment, as we become way more relevant to the consumer, I want a stage in our growth where a customer literally goes to Jumia first before anything else. So Jumia becomes, whenever I have a decision to make about something, I want to buy something, I want to make a decision about services or whatever, that they go on Jumia. That's what our investors are focused on right now, okay? Because we know that's very important for us before we can talk about attaining those levels of profitability that are in other markets. I mean, hey, I understand from Jeff Bezos that it took Amazon 12 years to be profitable, and we're just 5 years old. Okay.
Yeah. D'autres questions? Madame? Ah, dans l'autre sens, le micro.
Good afternoon, Laurence Siora, Pronio Group. We are selling professional products to hairdresser and beauticians, and we are selling to professional and retail. I had 2 questions for you. You spoke about product niche, and you've said that you need product to fill in those product niche. What are those product or service niche where you need products in Africa?
Okay, so there are many unique, I mean, just think about it. Anytime I walk into a supermarket in maybe Carrefour, or I walk into Walmart in the US, as I walk down the aisle, I tell myself, everything I touch, I want it on Jumia. Because there's a customer in Africa who needs them. There's customers, the demand is there. It's just, do we have the products at the right price, okay, for the consumer? And it's not enough to retrofit a product that is meant for the European market and then send it to Africa. No, you've got to understand the basic requirements. I'll give you one simple example, and that's on mobile phones. Okay. Why do we have such a high penetration of smartphone in Africa? Because over time, we kept pushing down the price point from over $300 to $200 to today, it's about $100 to get a basic smartphone that the average consumer requires. Because the demand is there. They want to have the same access to communication. They want to have the same access to internet, to browsing, to Facebook, Twitter, and so on and so forth. They just want it at the right price point. So if you take that same mindset into every product category, you find that there are huge opportunities in Africa. It's just the right product that meets the requirements that the consumer wants at the right price point. And then we take care of the availability of making the product available to the consumer. Okay.
Thank you. D'autres questions? Monsieur?
Hello. I love Jumia. It's quite a tremendous unicorn.
Okay.
What about cultural products? So books, for example.
Books, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sure, we have books on the platform. We have books on the platform. But I'm the first to admit that a Nigerian will buy fashion first before books. I mean, that's just a cultural, a cultural thing, but true. We have books on the platform, and we also, we carry a lot of books on Jumia. Okay.
You just spoke about Nigeria, but there is another...
In other African countries too. I don't know if the reading culture in other countries is much higher than it is in Nigeria. I mean, I can speak specifically on this topic of reading about Nigeria. I'm not so, I don't know about Morocco, I don't know, you know, how the reading culture is. I really can't say that much about it. Yeah. But to your question, we do have books. We have books on the platform. Yeah.
Alors, d'autres questions à poser à Juliette ou... Oui, mademoiselle?
You spoke about the lack of data at the beginning of your presentation, and I wanted to know, how do you manage to know your customer? How do you manage to define the cost of your products without having a lot of data?
Okay, so when I was referring to data, I was referring to the fact that in Africa, before e-commerce and the internet, okay, or before what we are doing, he may be the best hair salon specialist, and I'm the consumer next door. I don't know. I don't have that information. That was the lack of data that I was referring to. Okay. But what e-commerce has done is being able to aggregate information of all the different vendors and being able to put it together in one platform where I, as a customer, when I want to order, I can check the product and I can check the vendor, I can check the seller score of the vendor to decide whether I want that vendor to deliver that product to me or not. That's what I was referring to, that e-commerce helps a lot in that process. I mean, people, when they talk about Africa, we talk all the time about infrastructure, roads, trains, and so on and so on. Those are there. But the fundamental thing that is important to the consumer is how, if I want to hire someone to fix my AC, if I want to buy something, how do I know that I'm buying the right quality of that? How do I know that the price I'm buying it is the best in the market? That was never available until it was brought online, until someone can actually show something online and then you have some comparison. Today I have brands that tell me, we don't want to be on Jumia. Why? Because they don't want the transparency of pricing. They don't want the customer who lives here on this street or that street to know that the price on this street is different from the price on that street. But that's what e-commerce does. It makes it transparent. So that's what I was referring to in data, in the sense of what e-commerce is doing to bring that information to customers. Okay. Thank you.
Bien, une dernière question peut-être, madame?
Yes, hello, good afternoon. I'm Corinne Barclay. I'm in the cosmetics industry, up to now B2B, and we want to expand in B2C. And I'm not sure I understand fully. Do you mean that Jumia buys the products and then delivers to the different clients? Or if we are based here, do we have to have a warehouse over there? I'm not sure I understand.
So you're looking at expanding into B2C,
yes,
right? Okay. So what would happen typically is that there are two models. So one model is you could have a local distributor in the country where you want to operate, and then Jumia deals with your local distributor. So your local distributor is on Jumia's marketplace. Or you can do what we're doing with so many other vendors, particularly in China. We have Chinese vendors on Jumia. Okay. So under what we call Jumia Global, we list the products, your products on Jumia, and basically when a customer orders it, you ship the product direct to the consumer. Okay. Now, we have, in some markets, we've developed it very well. In China right now, we're trying to do the same thing for Europe and for the US. We've developed some logistics partnerships that can aggregate all the orders that, let's say, for example, France. There are many brands in France that our customers on Jumia are ordering their products. So we have a central logistics partner in France, and what he does, or what the company does, is to aggregate all the orders and then ship in one shipment to Nigeria, and then that consolidated shipment comes to our warehouse, and then from our warehouse it goes to the individual customers. Now we do that, we call it Jumia Global. That's what we offer our customers. And for that, our customers understand that the delivery timeline is not 2 days. Okay? Delivery timeline is longer. It's between 8 days and 14 days, for example, because of the time it takes to, you know, ship from France or from China or from any other market. So we do offer that. Okay. And it's actually growing, and that has been one of the things that's growing our assortment.
You already offer that for France?
No, not for France. We're still looking for some partners in France, but we're doing that now with a lot of Chinese vendors. I guess they saw the opportunity faster than the French.
Thank you, Juliet.
You're welcome.
Madame, allez, la dernière. The last one.
Okay.
Hi. I was just wondering about the pricing. You've been talking about the product coming from China, for example.
Yeah.
Who is taking in charge the cost of shipping it, and would that be expensive for the final consumer from there?
Interestingly, because of what I described, the consolidation, see, if you pack and ship for one customer, it's going to be expensive. Okay. But if in a country you pick all the products that are ordered by different customers and you consolidate the shipment into one, then it's cheaper. Then it lands the country, it lands Nigeria as one shipment, and then from Nigeria we distribute to the different customers. So that model makes it cheaper for the final customer.
Yeah, I can understand, but how do you manage then the volume of order? And because I guess you need a certain volume to ship that and to have a good cost. How do you?
Well, initially we knew we were going to have to develop it over time and then ramp it up. Okay, but now we're at inflection point where the volumes have gone so high that the cost really is not that significant anymore. Initially, when we had to start, we had to, of course, absorb some of that cost to build the volume, but now we have the volume. Okay. That was supposed to be the last one, right? No, but it's okay. I can take the last one.
Okay. Maybe?
Okay. So you mean that any French vendors now, they're sending the product, shipping the product directly to the consumer? There is no other way for the moment?
It is possible for that to happen. Like I said, we have some logistics partners that we're working with for certain countries, and I mentioned China as an example. I think we've started developing that also for France, but I need to check. I think there's a logistics partner we're also working with for France to do that, so that French companies can actually ship using that same model. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, Juliet. Maybe a last word? You want the last word? Speak in the mic, please.
My last word is watch this space, okay?
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Thank you for your keynotes, and I apologize for the misunderstanding before. Thank you.
Had to go to lunch.
Thank you. On va se quitter maintenant. On se retrouvera tout à l'heure à 17h. Ici même pour les awards. Nous avons 1 heure avant de nous retrouver ici pour la grande soirée de remise des prix des Paris Retail Awards. Merci.